Tonight, I don't think I am expecting that many viewers are going to be available to view or chat during the live stream in real time, so I won't give much preamble to give people time to arrive because I may just be me reading tonight, but that's okay because these videos will be available later, so you can watch them at 1.2 times or 1.5 times speed and say you read a book in like 2 hours. So there's that. The first installment of the second book, The Visitor, was pretty much the usual reintroducing of the 5 Animorphs characters and the premise, which I figure you probably already know. So, at this point, the Animorphs don't have an awful lot of leads to follow in their investigations into the Yerk conspiracy, but they do know that their vice principal, Mr. Chapman. Oh, hello, Matt. Okay. You have not fallen asleep. That's sweet of you. They do know that their vice principal, Mr. Chapman, is a human controller, and they also have some indications that he is something of a leader or in a position of authority among the Yerks. So that is, one of the few leads they have. And Rachel is good friends with Mr. Chapman's daughter, Melissa, and Melissa has a cat. So, you are all caught up on the premise of the second book. Chapter 6. Look, a kitty door, Jay pointed. Where? Marco asked. See the lines of light at the bottom of the regular door? Oh, yeah, Marco said. I wish the moon were out. I can't see a thing. The 4 of us were cowering behind a hedge that bordered the Chapman's lawn. They lived in a pretty normal-looking suburban home. 2 stories, a garage, a lawn, nothing to make you think that the person who lived there was part of a huge alien conspiracy to take over the world. Let me just ask you this, Marco whispered. Why did it have to be Chapman? I was afraid of Chapman even before we found out he was a controller. You're not still upset over that detention he gave you? I asked. Look, if you're going to listen to your CD player in math class with an earphone hidden under your hair, you have to remember not to start singing along. Yeah, that was only slightly stupid, Marco, Jake agreed. I still say Chapman would never have given me a full week detention if he was totally human. I have a question, Cassie said. How do we get Melissa's cat to come outside? We all looked at her. Good question, I admitted. I mean, we could hide here in the bushes for a long time, but sooner or later the neighbors are going to notice. What does the cat look like? Tobias was sitting perched on a nearby tree branch. He was close enough to hear us speaking. I tried to remember. Its name is Fluffer. I remember that much. Fluffer McKitty. You've got to be kidding. Mark, of course. I tried to remember back to when I used to hang out with Melissa more. It's black and white, with patches. I'll look around. Maybe it's already outside. Tobias spread his wings, swooped silently down over our heads, and flapped away into the night. You know what we need? I said. We need another kitty. We should have thought of that. Then we could have the second cat call out to Fluffer. Marco turned to stare at me. Meow, Fluffer, come out, meow, meow. Come and play, meow. Tobias morphed a cat very early on, didn't he? I asked. Yeah, Jake said. His first morph. The first morph any of us did. Rachel, you need to remember that if you go in there tonight, that you have to stay in cat character, Cassie said. Most people would just think it was weird if a cat acted strangely, but Chad may be able to guess what's going on if Fluffer suddenly starts acting uncat-like. So you're saying I shouldn't try in with a fork or changing the channels on the TV? Everyone laughed, quietly and nervously, but it was laughter just the same. Suddenly, Tobias dropped out of the sky, then drifted over us in a lazy circle and called down, "Got him!" He settled back on the branch. He was really an amazing animal when you just looked at him as a bird and didn't think about him being a boy trapped in there. I mean, the gaze of a hawk when it is looking right at you is incredibly intimidating. Gentle Tobias now had an expression that looked totally ferocious. "You're kidding. You found Fluffer?" I asked. "Hey, it's easy. Spotting prey is what I do. Or what a hawk does, anyway. Actually, there are maybe 6 or 8 cats running around the neighborhood. Also, 3 dogs and an amazing amount of rats and mice." "Rats?" That got Marco's attention. "Rats? Here? This is suburbia. I mean, it's a lot better. Sorry. This is suburbia. I mean, it's a lot better than where I live. And they have rats?" "There are rats everywhere," Tobias said. "Rats and mice and all kinds of plump, juicy." He fell silent, embarrassed. "Get a grip, Tobias," Marco said. "Don't start eating rats, all right? I don't know if I can have someone who eats rats for a friend." Sometimes Marco is funny. Sometimes he goes too far. It's one of those times. "Shut up, Marco," I growled. "I ate a live spider," Jake pointed out. "Does that mean you and I can't be friends?" From his tone of voice, I could tell that Jake was angry too. None of us had ever been in Mort for more than 2 hours. Tobias had been a hawk for more than a week now. Marco realized he'd been a jerk. "Well, yeah, I guess you're right," he muttered. "Besides, I don't want to eat eggplant, so I guess I can't criticize." That was an apology, or as close as Marco could get to an actual apology. "The cat we're looking for is just half a block away," Tobias said. "Follow me." Pardon. Tobias flew off, but kept low. We took off after him. Even flying at minimum speed, Tobias was too fast for us to keep up with, so we had to circle back again and again. Hard time keeping him in sight. "This doesn't look too strange," Cassie joked. "The 4 of us running down the street, looking up in the sky." "There," Tobias called down. "See that yard with the 2 trees?" "Yeah, just to our left." "That's the one. The cat you're looking for is stalking a mouse. Right behind the top of the nearest tree." "Okay, we can't all go traipsing over. Go with that." Marco held up the kitty carrier we had brought along. "Yes?" "Not yet. I'll grab back over here. You 2 guys just stand here, looking casual." Cassie and I stepped onto the lawn. The house was dark. Maybe no one was home. That would be good. "Go left," suggested Cassie. We stood the tree. "Hey, Fluffer," I said in a high talking to animals voice. "You here, kitty kitty? Remember me?" There he is. I see him. I squatted down and held my hand over the cat. "Hey, Fluffer, Fluffer, it's me, Rachel." Fluffer flattened his ears back along his skull. He looked from me to Cassie and back again. "Come on, Fluffer, it's me. Come on, boy." "He's a male? He's a tomcat?" Cassie asked. "Yeah, I think so." "Oh, wonderful," Cassie moaned. "Please tell me he's been fixed at least." "Have you been fixed, Fluffy McKitty?" I cooed. "Why do we care?" I asked Cassie. because pound for pound, it's like one of the toughest, most dangerous little things around. Ooh, Fluffer? My little kitty friend, Fluffer? Even if he is fixed, a male cat out at night in hunting mode? Cat shook her head. We should have worn gloves. Oh, come on, he's a sweet cat. To demonstrate just how sweet Fluffer was, I reached a hand for him. In a movement too fast for my human eyes to see, Fluffer swiped out with one paw. 3 bloody scratches appeared on the back of my hand. Fluffer shot straight up the tree. Ow! I stuck my injured hand to my mouth. Gloves would definitely have been a good idea, Cassie said. How are you guys doing? Jake whispered, just loudly enough for me to hear him. Wonderful, I said through gritted teeth. I'm bleeding, and Fluffer is up the tree now. I heard Marco giggle. I expected that, but then I heard Jake giggling too. I looked up and saw 2 glittering yellow-green eyes glaring down from the tree. This was supposed to be the easy part, I said. I figured, okay, we go and acquire Fluffer's DNA, and then the hard stuff begins. We have a cat up a tree, Cassie said dolefully. You know how hard it is to get a cat down out of a tree? I have a plan, I said. Tobias, are you up there? Right above you. But I'm not going to try and snatch an angry tomcat down out of a tree. That's not what I was going to ask, I said. I took a deep breath. This night was turning real weird real fast. What I need is a mouse. Not a rat. Chapter 7. Got something for you. A baby mouse? A mean baby mouse. It keeps trying to bite me. Tobias flew in a low, tight circle overhead, disappearing behind the tree branches, then reappearing. Are you ready? I took a deep breath and gave him a wave. Sure, I was ready. Why wouldn't I be ready to have a hawk hand me a mouse? Just your normal kind of thing to deal with. Tobias flew low and slow. I held my hands cupped together. With amazing precision and perfect timing, he deposited the mouse into my hands. Let it bite me, Cassie warned. Babies. I muttered. Just one more fun aspect of this night. Actually, I was glad for the warning. The mouse was squirming in terror, trying to get away. I could feel its tiny little mouse legs scrabbling against my palms. You should all get rabies shots, Cassie said. Seriously, I already have mine, but if we're going to be handling wild animals, in the meantime, be careful to keep his teeth away from you. I wasn't planning on feeding him my finger, I said. Hey, wait. Cassie pried open my hands to get a better look. That's not a mouse, that's a shrew. See the eyes? They're too small, and the tail is wrong. It's not a baby mouse, Tobias. It's a full-grown shrew. Sorry, is that bad? I don't know, I just know it isn't a mouse. Marco said, beginning to grin. Rachel is going to become a shrew? How will we know when she's changed? How do you become what you already are? Everyone was too nervous to find the joke very funny. We felt kind of stupid, standing around on some stranger's lawn, like rodents. I mean, there are times when the whole thing just seems so utterly insane, you know? Okay, I have to concentrate on acquiring, so everyone shut up, I said. Acquiring is what we call it when we absorb a sample of the animal's DNA. The DNA is the stuff inside the cells that sort of serves like a how-to manual for remaking the animal. When you acquire, you have to think hard about the animal, focusing on it and blocking everything else out. Then the animal kind of goes limp, like it's in a trance. It takes just about a minute. It was easy to focus on the shrew, what with it squealing in terror and squirming to get out of my hand. But it was gross, definitely gross. I know there was nothing really wrong with shrews, but still, they freaked out a little. When I was done, I opened my eyes. Okay, shrew, thanks for your help. You can go now. I don't know if this is a good idea, Jake said out. Really? Marco was sarcastic. You're not sure it's a good idea for Rachel to turn into a shrew in order to lure a vicious cat down from a tree so she could morph into that cat and sneak into the assistant principal's house. What worries you about that plan? Cassie looked worried too. Ooh. We had a little more rumble in the corner there. Have you boys settled your fight, or should I wait a while? Cassie looked worried. You know, Rachel, usually a cat will play with a mouse a little bit, but sometimes they go right for the neck bite. The mouse or the shrew dies instantly. Be careful, Rachel, Tobias said. I'll be watching, but be careful. I don't want anything to happen to you. I realized he had said it so that only I could hear. I could tell because nobody else reacted. I looked up at Tobias. I knew he would see it. I rubbed my hands together. Okay. I concentrated once more on the shoe. It was now a part of me. I don't know how it works, but it does. Somehow, they handle like technology. The DNA of that shoe was stored away inside me. It was like having a map to guide me as I transformed. Not that I had a clue how I was able to do it. The first sensation was of shrinking down from being 5 feet tall to being less than an inch tall. It's like falling, except that you can feel the ground under your feet the whole time. 1 minute I was looking Jake and Marco and Cassie in the face. The next minute their faces seemed to be zooming high up above me. I was falling down all the length of their bodies. It was like they were huge skyscrapers. I had just jumped off the roof. My outer clothing fell around me like a big collapsing circus tent. It made a slight grinding noise as my backbone collapsed into a size smaller than my little finger. There was the disturbing, not quite pain sensation that goes along with Animorphs. It hurt, but it didn't quite hurt. I could feel the tail sprout from my tailbone, a long, hairless tail, not at all attractive. My legs practically disappeared, they were so small. I was a chubby little ball of fur, no more than 2 inches long, with 4 tiny feet. Then the fear kicked in, the shrew's fear. It hit me so hard I began to shake. I rattled with terror. I quaked with terror. I was surrounded, predators everywhere. I could smell them. I could see them. Huge, looming, slow-moving creatures standing over me. Rachel, you okay down there? It was Cassie. She lifted the folds of my clothing off of me. I heard the voice and I sort of understood it, but it was almost more like distant thunder. It didn't really mean anything. I was not to the shrew. The shrew was looking for a way out. Its brain might have been terrified. Its brain might have been terrified, but it was also amazingly smart. It was evaluating every possible escape route. It was measuring the distance between the 3 sets of legs. One set of legs moved slightly. I was off like a shot. Running, blades of grass seemed 6 feet tall. Twigs were like fallen trees that I had to scramble over. My little feet moved with incredible speed. I scooted past a beetle that seemed to me to be as big as a dog. Rachel, You have to get control. I knew they were right. I even sort of understood what they meant, but the terror was so strong. The urge to survive is so powerful. At the same time, there were other feelings. Hunger. I smelled nuts. I smelled dead fish. I even smelled the maggots squirming on the dead flesh of them. Sorry. I smelled nuts. I smelled dead flesh. I even smelled the maggots squirming on the dead flesh. I wanted them. I know it's too gross, but I wanted to eat those maggots. Heavy, pounding footsteps behind me. I turned sharply and ducked under a bush. The steps went barreling by before stopping and turning back toward me. They were faster than I was, but not as agile. I could get away. I could get away and find that dead smell and gorge. It's bias. The shrew is in control. You have to assert yourself. And then stop. Hunger! Rachel, listen to me. Run away from us. You have to take charge. Fear! Hunger! Grass and twigs and dirt. Oh, scratchy branches over my head. The smell of a dog that had urinated on this bush. More loud footsteps. More loud footsteps and far-off rumbling voices yelling. They were trying to catch me, but I was fast. I was clever, but not clever enough. I ran out from under the bush. Like a shadow inside of a shadow, I felt it descend on me. Terror like nothing I'd ever felt before swept over me. Something deep, deep inside my shrew brain cried out. It was the ultimate fear, the ultimate horror. It was the enemy I could not defeat, and it was coming for me. Chapter 8. I dodged, but too slowly. Huge talons closed around me, and suddenly my little feet were running on air. Okay, Rachel, it's okay. It's just me. I have you. The voice was in my head. I understood the words. It cut through to the terror at last. I held on to that voice. Relax, Rachel. I looked down and with my dim shrew eyesight, saw the shadows shooting past down below. I have you, Rachel. Try to be calm. Think about something human. Think about school. Remember school? School? Yes, I remembered school. Quite suddenly, the shrew mind lost the battle for control. It was like a switch had been flipped. I was in charge. I knew what I was. I knew who I was. I'm okay, Tobias, I said. You can set me down. He circled around and landed with perfect gentleness on the ground. Did my talons hurt you? No, I don't think so. I'm fine. You okay, Rachel? Jake's voice. Yes. Yes. Boy, that was totally different than the elephant brain or the eagle. They're both so calm and mellow compared to this mine. It's like Jake's lizard, Cassie suggested. He had a panic reaction too. The other animals we more were kind of big, dominant animals. Gorilla, tiger. My horse was skittish, though. Look, let's just do this and get it over with, okay? I said. I am not enjoying the shrew experience. That was the understatement of all time. I could still smell death and hear the thousands of feasting maggots. And to me, those things still meant dinner, and I was horribly hungry. Are you sure you're going to be able to maintain down there? Marco asked. I saw him peering down a million miles up. You still look a little nervous. Your tail is twitching, and your little nose is sniffing like crazy. Yeah, I know I'm still nervous. Let's just do this. You'll have to take me back to the tree where Fluffer is. I don't know what direction it is. Before I could object, Marco reached down and scooped me up into his hands. He held me up and looked directly into my eyes. I've never seen you look lovelier, Rachel. Very cover girl. We walked down the block. Marco set me down at the bottom of the tree where Fluffer was still hiding out on a high branch. You guys had better back off a little, I said. Not too far, Jake said. We have to be able to get between you and Fluffer fast. Oh, I can kick Fluffer's butt, I said, joking. I guess I felt a little embarrassed about having let the shrew take control of me. Uh-huh, Marco said dryly. Cat versus mouse. Who would you bet on? Haven't you seen Itchy and Scratchy? Cassie asked. Mouse. Definitely mouse. Besides, she's not a mouse. Let me tell you something. It is no fun sitting around in a shrew's tiny body waiting to see whether a huge cat is going to decide to climb down and kill you. It is one of the least fun things I've ever done. I had the shrew brain under control, but that didn't change the fact that the shrew was still about as scared as a shrew could be. Between being snatched up by a hawk and now waiting to see if the shrew's other deadly enemy was going to attack, the shrew was definitely in a state of panic. She was not a happy shrew. And I was so preoccupied thinking about the shrew's hunger that I missed what happened next. I didn't even notice until I heard the sound of scraping tree bark just an inch over my head. Fluffer was dropping through the air right on top of me. I froze. Jake and Marco did not freeze. Marco grabbed Fluffer in mid-pounce. Marco grabbed Fluffer in mid-pounce. Fluffer reported with an nasty claws. Almost dropped. Jake grabbed the three of them managed to stuff the squalling, hissing, splashing Fluffer into the carrier and close the door. I was already morphing out of the shrew body as fast as I could. I'm bleeding, Marco cried. We're all bleeding. We're all bleeding, Cassie said matter-of-factly. I told you guys, kitties can be nasty when you get on their nerves. I was shooting up from the ground, regaining my normal body. I am never doing that again, I said, as soon as I had a normal tongue and lips. I looked over my shoulder to make sure I didn't still have that creepy tail. Nothing. It was me again. I was in my morphing outfit and with no shoes on, but I was human again. I shuddered. The memory of the shrew's brain and its fear and hunger made my flesh creep. I was fighting a powerful urge to throw up. I felt sick in the way that's mostly in your head. His head. I've done it. I morphed to lure the cat down from the tree. I shook my head. No, that freaked you out. Now you're the one who's freaked out, I said. But don't worry, you'll get over it. At least you didn't aspire. Yeah, look, I'm just tired, okay? Let me acquire this pain in the butt cat and get on with this. Are you still up for it? Cassie asked. Acquiring new morphs in one night? I shouldn't have let you do the mouse. Shrew, whatever, Jake said. He was still looking guilty. Look, it was my idea, right? Besides, since when do you let me do things? What are you, my master? I don't think so. Come on. I squared my shoulders and put on a brave smile. Let me see how Fluffer likes me, now that I'm bigger than he is again. I guess Fluffer was tired of causing trouble. He was actually asleep in the cat carrier, sleeping like nothing at all was going on. Typical cat. He even purred as I acquired him. When I was done, I noticed Cassie smiling. What? I asked her. I was just thinking how you look like the same old Rachel, but now you also have an elephant, a shrew, an eagle, and a cat inside you. That's 4 morphs. More than any of us. She looked thoughtful. I don't really know very much about this morphine thing still. I wonder if there's a limit to how many morphs you can do. I guess we'll find out, Marco said darkly, probably at the worst possible time. I wondered if they were right. It was definitely a strange, powerful feeling, knowing that I could become 4 very different animals. Strange and powerful and disturbing. Suddenly, I had animals that ate each other. It wasn't a good image. Suddenly, I felt exhausted. Me too, Rachel. Suddenly, I felt exhausted. Look, guys, I've acquired Fluffer now, but maybe we should do the rest of this tomorrow night. I don't know if I'm at my best right now. Another night, Jake agreed. He looked relieved. I think he was worried about me. And that's the way Jake is. I guess we can let him go now, Cassie said. She opened the carrier, and the cat climbed out cautiously. I watched him run off the night. Probably going off to kill your shrew, Mark speculated. That idea made me shudder all over again. Brief pause for eyeball break. And in the meantime, I was just thinking about, do you know the way we discovered in Friday Night Fright Club that Arstein has no intention of actually terrifying Adrian? You know, he mostly just wants to make you laugh, and there are certain off-limit topics that he never uses in any of the Goosebumps books. I mean, he also says that none of the kids ever die in any of the Goosebumps books, and, you know, I've heard it from sources that quite true, but that he like divorce or the parent or substance use or anything like that, because he doesn't actually want to terrify kids. The Animorphs book series has no compunctions. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think there are any off-limits topics. Like, yeah. So sorry, I'm just giving my my eyeballs a break and babbling and rambling a bit in the meantime. But yeah, I think while the Goosebumps books are, you know, horror genre, they do not intend to terrify children, and the Animorphs books are, you know, science fiction in genre and have all the intention of terrifying children. Chapter 9. Ah, ah, ah! Wake up, wake up! Ah! Oh, oh. I sat up. I was there. It was dark, but I could just make out Jordan's face. She was shaking me awake. I felt my face. Lips, eyes, nose. I patted myself down frantically. Human. I was human. No fur, no tail. Human. The details of the dream came rushing up to meet my consciousness. Oh, no, I moaned. I threw back the covers and stumbled to my feet. I staggered toward the bathroom door. The bathroom connects my room to the room where Jordan and Sarah share. I tried to turn on the light, but I missed the switch. I dropped to my knees in the dark in front of the toilet and threw up. Jordan kept saying, "Are you all right, Rachel? Are you all right? I better get Mom." No, I said as soon as I talked. I'm fine. Don't wake Mom up. Fortunately, little Sarah could sleep through anything. I brushed my teeth and drank some water. I looked sheepishly at Jordan. She was nothing like me. I guess I look more like my dad, and Jordan. I guess I look more like my dad. Jordan is like this smaller version of my mom. Dark hair and dark eyes. She looked pretty scared. Okay, I said again. Just a bad dream. I guess it made me sick, is all, but I'm fine now. Jordan relaxed a little. Must have been some dream. I guess so. I can't even remember it now. You know how it is. Dreams fade away so fast, so you can't even remember them. I can't believe you would just forget a dream that made you scream and hurl. I shrugged. I've never been very good at remembering dreams. You better get back to bed. She looked at me solemnly. I know I'm just your little sister by 2 years, but you would tell me if something bad was happening to you, right? I mean, I wouldn't tell Mom or anyone. You could trust me. I smiled and drew her into a hug. I know I can trust you. If anything bad was going on, I'd tell you. It was a lie, of course, and the lie made me feel even worse. I did trust Jordan. I trusted her. I knew in my heart that she was not a controller. Of course, that's just what Jake had said about Tom. I hugged my sister a little closer. Pardon me. Of course, that's just what Jake had said about Tom. I hugged my sister a little closer. I hated the way suspicion had crept into every part of my mind. I hated the way I wasn't sure, not really, totally sure. Good night, I said. Thanks for rescuing me from that nightmare, whatever it was. She started to walk away. From behind her, what? I asked. The answer. She looked puzzled. I think it was maggots? Sounded something like that. I forced a shaky smile. Good night, Jordan. I fell back into my bed. The pillow was soaked with sweat. The sheets were clammy. Maggots. Squirming, crawling, white maggots. They were. Pardon me, I am thinking so quickly tonight. Maggots. Busy little white maggots. They were all over a piece of meat and fur. A dead cat covered with vermin, eating decaying flesh. A shrew was getting in on the feast, eating the dead flesh and the living maggots with equal enjoyment. In my dream, I knew I was that shrew. You look tired, Jake said the next morning. Same bus to school. Thanks, I said grumpily. I guess not, if I look at the I didn't say you looked bad. I just said you looked tired. He glanced over his shoulder, checking to see whether anyone was listening. Fortunately, the noise level was always pretty high on the bus. Jake lowered his voice and leaned close to my ear. You didn't get too creeped out by the shrew, did you? Why? Just because I'm a girl, you think the shrew bothered me more than it would have bothered you or Marco? No, that's not it at all, he said earnestly. It's just, see, I didn't listen. It bothered me. I had nightmares. Nightmares? I said too loudly. Then I lowered my voice back to a whisper. Nightmares? Oh yeah, definitely. More of the tiger, I had dreams about it too, but not nightmares. What kind of dreams? He smiled. Kind of cool, really. Stalking through a dark forest at night, I was hunting something. It was like I wanted to catch it. It was like I wanted to catch it, but at the same time, it was like if I didn't catch it, that would be okay too. Because just running and creeping and then running some more through the woods was the best thing in the world. I nodded. I felt like that after the elephant morph. It was this incredible feeling of being huge and invincible. Never even possibly be afraid of anything. But the shrew was different, wasn't it? Same with the lizard. I guess it's just the different characters of the animals. Mm. Maybe maybe some are good matches for our human brains, and maybe others aren't. I looked at her for a while. Then I said, "You know what scares me?" To my surprise, Jake nodded. That someday we might have to morph into bugs. I shuddered. I don't think I'll be willing to do that. I think that may be too much. Well, your next assignment is a cat. Tobias was a cat, and he said it was amazingly cool. He liked it. Just like I really enjoy being a dog. Sometimes when I'm feeling depressed, I really wish I could just morph into dogs. Dogs know how to have fun. The bus pulled up in front of the school. Another day of school, normal life. I looked over the crowd of kids milling around on the lawn and on the steps. I spotted Melissa. "See you later, Jake," I said. "Thanks. We're all in this together." I made it to the bus aisle and ran to catch Melissa. When I got close, I saw that her eyes were red and swollen. She'd been crying. I didn't know what to do. In the old days, I would have just run right up to her and asked what was the matter. "Hey, Melissa, how's it going?" She looked at me, confused. "What?" I said, "How's it going?" She shook her head slowly, like she couldn't believe I was talking to her. "What do you care?" "Melissa, of course I care. What's wrong?" Her eyes went kind of blank. She seemed to be looking at nothing but the air right in front of her face. "What's wrong?" "Everything is wrong. And nothing is wrong. But it's the same. Everything is wrong." "Melissa, what are you talking about?" "Forget it," she said. She started to walk away. I grabbed her arm. "Look, you can talk to me. I'm your friend. Nothing has changed." "Leave me alone," she said grimly. "Everything changed. Everyone has changed. You stopped being my friend, and my mom dad." "What?" I pressed her. "I have to go." What could I do? I let her go. I wondered what she started to say about her father. Had she discovered what her father was? What her father had become? I walked up the steps of the school with my head lowered in thought. As I opened the school door, I ran right into someone. Hey, watch where you're going, young lady." "Mr. Chapman," I recoiled in fear. See, you have to realize that this was the man who had once directed a Hork-Bajir soldier to kill us all if he caught us. Kill us and only save our heads for identification. That kind of thing sticks in your mind. He peered at me. "What's the matter with you, Rachel? A little jumpy this morning?" I nodded. "Yes, sir. I guess I didn't sleep too well." "Bad dreams?" he asked. My mouth went dry. "I guess so, Mr. Chapman." He smiled, a normal human smile. His eyes even crinkled up a little as he grinned down at me. "Well, shake it off. Nightmares are real, you know." "At least not most of the time," I muttered to myself. Chapter 10. We couldn't go to the Chapman's house the next night because Marco and I both had papers we had to write. And the night after that was Cassie's dad's birthday. Finally, there we were again on the street outside the Chapman house. It was a little bit before 8 o'clock. Fluffer was already out of the house, smelling a fence post floor block. Fluffer was already out of the house, smelling a fence post 4 blocks over, where another cat had left his scent. At least that's what Tobias had reported. Are you ready? Jake asked me. I nodded. Are you sure? Cassie asked. You can put this off if you want. We don't have to do this tonight. The sooner the better, I said. We all know something is wrong in that house. Melissa is still my friend. Maybe, somehow, I can help her. Your job is not to help Chapman, Marco pointed out. You're supposed to be spying on Chapman. You're supposed to be finding some way for us to get at the Yerks, that we can all turn into You're supposed to be finding some other way for us to get at the Yerks so that we can all turn into wild animals and get ourselves killed. I know that's why I'm doing this, Marco, I said. He nodded. Okay, well, take care of yourself in there. That's an insistent... I'm sorry, I keep pre-laughing at all of Marco's lines. He nodded. Okay, well, take care of yourself in there. That's an assistant principal you're dealing with. He finds out you've turned into a cat and gone sneaking around his house. That will be after school detention for like a year. We all laughed as if detention were the thing I had to fear. Marco can be obnoxious, but on the other hand, he can make you laugh right when you really need to. I'm ready, I said. I waved my arms at the dark sky above. Tobias swooped down, opened his wings to slow his speed, and settled on the fence beside us. How does it look up there, Tobias? Jake asked. Looks fine. Looks fine. The cat is nowhere near the house. There's no one out walking around, except way over on Lachlan Street. There are a couple of cars, but not coming towards you. You know, you have quite a feature in burglary, Marco said to Tobias. You and I can burglarize places, and Jake can be Spider-Man and catch us. Okay, I'm ready to do this, I announced. As ready as I'm going to get, anyway. Tobias sent me a private message. Rachel, if you get into any trouble, just try to make it outside. I can lift you out of any danger. I prepared to morph. Easy to do. I had a very clear mental image of Fluffer dropping down out of that tree, ready to kill me when I was a shrew. Inside my own body, Fluffer was ready to be used. All I had to do was concentrate. Each morphing is different, especially the first time when you can't even think about controlling how it happens. Even Cassie can't control the first morph. In the case of Fluffer, it started with fur. Black fur came first, and then the white fur began to grow. The fur had almost completely grown in, while I was still mostly human. I had luxurious fur on my arms, on my legs, on my face. Fur and whiskers with everything else pretty much cool. She was staring at me and grinning. That is way cool. Great. Mark nodded. It's kind of weird, but also kind of pretty, I said. I'm thinking you could do commercials for cat food. You sing a song, maybe dance a little dance. Forget Morris the cat. You would rule. I began to shrink, but it was strange. I began to shrink, but it was strange, because as I shrank and my outer clothing slithered off me, I didn't feel like I was getting smaller. I felt more like I was getting stronger. It was like I was shedding all this unnecessary stuff. These clumsy long legs, these ridiculous weak arms. I felt like I was being boiled down to my absolute essentials. Like I wasn't even made out of plain old flesh and bones anymore. I felt like liquid steel. I didn't feel the fear of the shrew. I didn't feel the total confidence of the elephant either, or of the eagle. This was different. There was fear, sure, but underneath the fear was confidence. The cat knew that there were enemies out there. He also knew he could handle it. I felt tough. That was it. Then the cat started sending messages to my brain. Oh, I yelled in surprise. Suddenly, it isn't time anymore. I mean, wow, about night vision. Cat's vision at night is about 8 times stronger than a human's, Cassie said helpfully. I looked it up. 8 times? Marco repeated. Not 7? Not 9? How do they measure that? But it wasn't just how well I saw that was strange. It was what I noticed. A human being will notice colors, for example. Now, a cat can see colors, more or less. He just isn't interested in colors. It's like, okay, that thing is red. I know. Who cares? What cats really notice is movement. If anything moves, even the tiniest little bit, cat sees it. I was standing there on the grass, looking around with my big cat eyes, and I saw nothing but movement. I saw every blade of grass that moved in the breeze. I saw every bug that crawled across those blades of grass. I saw every bird. I saw every bird and every tree as it fluffed its wings. And boy, did I see the mice and the squirrels and the rats. There was a mouse no more than 25 feet away. I could see the individual whiskers on a little snout when they twitched. Things that were not moving were boring to me. Completely still, I would forget he was even there. How are you doing? Jake asked me. I had no trouble at all hearing his voice, but it was irrelevant. The mouse was making a tiny little scritching sound with its teeth around a nut, trying to chew it open a lot. Rachel, can you hear us? It's me, Cassie. Yes, I can hear you. I just can't seem to concentrate very well on you. There are so many other things to hear and smell. Well, at least she's not running out of control, Marco said. Suddenly, I sensed something over my head. A shape, a shadow, a figure. Lightning quick, I turned my head. My ears flattened back against my skull. The hair on my back stood up, and my tail puffed out to 3 times its normal size. My ended. I drew back my mouth and showed my teeth. It all happened in a split second. I was ready for battle. And whatever this was attacking me, I wanted it to know it would be sorry it messed with Fluff McKitty. And with that hiss, I will stop there tonight. Thank you for joining me, whether you have been watching and listening along with the live stream, or whether you're watching this on a 1.5 speed tomorrow or something. I do appreciate the support and the company. Good night.